Hello again and welcome to part 3 of my farmstead build. Just a little recap. SAG or Sigil Architects Guild is a Discord server that is trying to build a digital library of WSM files that can be used in Sigil for DMs who don't have a lot of time to build scenes or maps in 3D, or people who are just interested in fun 3D environments. You can find us on the Sigil Discord and other places. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started. As a recap, in part 1, I made the external walls of the farmstead. Again, this is a map that's found in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. With this map, there is no written history about it. There's no adventure to it. There's no notes on what the materials are supposed to be. It is supposed to be a farmstead, but in the basic building blocks, or in the basic dungeon, there isn't a lot of wood walls or coverings or fences. So this might look like a fortress, but that's what the basic dungeon set has. There might be a few times where I have to use the master tier assets found in like the rustic village or graveyard or crude mines to find something like this well or this cart. At the end of the first part, I also added some of these landscape elements like the trees and the rocks as we look around. In the second video, I started filling in the insides of these rooms. We found out that sometimes the map that you put as the image board, sometimes it matches really well with the grid, other times it doesn't. And so it's a little bit of give and take and finding where things line up. I also added some windows and doors and a little bit of lighting. So we'll kind of pick up there. In one of my videos, I noticed that my voice was very difficult to hear. And one thing I had mentioned, I could go into these spaces and fill in a floor like this. But that hides all the details that are underneath it. And so I want to put in the props first. So go ahead and delete that. There wasn't much in this room, just some stains and whatnot. But if I fill in the floor too early, then I don't know what props to put in. Also, what I'd like to get to is using these terrain assets. As you can see in the 2D map, there's supposed to be some hills. It's supposed to be, and I guess you can look up here, the farmstead is supposed to be up on a hill, and these kind of build up to it. If I put one of these down, it's going to build on top of what I've already built. So what I want to do is build everything first, and then raise everything up and put it on top of the terrain itself. So that's the plan, and that's what I plan on sticking to. So let's go ahead and get started. I noticed here, right, it looks like this could be a door or it could be a window. We have some pretty big doors here, so it's just, I'm going to make it a window. And I'm going to just copy these pieces here. Just hold Control C, Control V, put it out there. And I can select this wall. And now that I have it moved, I can press R and rotate it. And once I do that, you'll notice that now it's turning in 45 degree angles instead of just 90. And there's not really an issue, but something to be mindful of. There's pre-positioning of objects, and then there's post-positioning. After you place an object, you have a little more flexibility on how it rotates. So if you're frustrated with the 90 degrees, put the object down, pick it back up, and hold R, and that should give you the 45 degree rotation. There's probably a window there too. Which piece do I want to grab? That one? That one? Maybe that one. Again, we'll just put in that window piece that we did before. Again, holding down Shift and Control will keep it at the same plane and give it free movement so you can line things up just a little bit better. Alright, we'll move on to this room here. It looks like we've got some sacks, some tables, some books, some just different things. So we'll go into the props. Put up 2 tables. We'll find some things to put on that table. I'll go ahead and click the random rotations. So every time I click, it'll put in something different, or a different angle of it. And even with the random rotations, you can still press R and change how things are rotated. We don't have sacks for some reason, but there's this larger group of barrels that we can use, barrels and boxes. That table is hiding from me, so we'll go ahead and put that in too. Some junk up on there, and some junk down on the floor. Kind of copying where things are on the map. So if I want to come in and put in a door here, I want to ungroup the walls, so I can select just the one, come into the building blocks, Find a one space door. Oh, this one might be okay. So just looking at the map, I noticed that there was a little bit of rubble here, and you can add a little bit of realism to that with some of the assets. So I will also add just a little rubble around the places here. And because there's no description of this map, I don't know what this is actually, this part here. It could be a food cellar, it could be something, but in any case, it looks like it has to go down. So what I will do, just so that we have that on the map already, is I will put in a staircase. So we have a door that goes here, and we'll go like this. And this is what I was talking about. It doesn't always want to line up, but it'll be close enough. And if you want it to be exactly like the map, then it's just Control and Shift. You can set it pretty close to where you want it. Now when I lift everything up, I know that that's where the cellar is, and it'll work just fine. I mentioned before in the props that we don't have a well, not in the basic dungeon. You can make a well. I might make a video on that, but for this part I might go to the existing assets and go to the, I think it's the rustic village. Props, yeah, we got a little well. It's a little bit bigger than expected, but that's okay. And we can see here in the rustic village we also have a cart that's already made. So I might use this one. It's a bit smaller than the one on the map. But I think it still gives the same idea. I'll just kind of put it in the middle. So now we've got our cart here. And so for the foundations, for the architecture of the place, it looks like the next step would be this mill up at the top, or maybe it's just a silo. Yeah, we'll call it a silo instead of a hill or a mill. So we'll come back to our basic dungeon. And for this, what we want to do is find what looks like a centerpiece there. That one might make it easier to snap. With these columns, they always try to find the corner of the square, but as we can see, the center of it is in the the middle of the square. So for this, again, you can just hold Control and Shift, keep it on the same plane, and put it in the middle where you'd like. Put it here. And if you'd like to, when you get to the top of one floor, again, hold Control and Shift, and it will keep it at that level, and just place it on top. How high does that go? That just might be 2 floors. Alright, yeah. So, going through these options here, there are no round rooms, which is a little painful sometimes, but when there's limitations, you learn to get creative. So there are a few things that we can do to get around that. Let's see where it is. You can use rocks and do a freeform. Smaller rock, smaller rock. We used to have small rocks. Where did they go? Something like this. You just kind of angle them around. I guess I could turn off the random rotation. You could hold Control and Shift and build it around, and then build it up on top. A little rotation. But as you can see, sometimes that means that I'm going to be extending more than the area, and it doesn't actually look like what the picture does. So we'll go ahead and erase that, erase these. And so I will use walls, or I might be able to get away with using something like this. That might be okay too. I know I could be rotating these to make it a little bit smoother, but I'm not so worried about that right now. The closer you put them together, especially if they're at the same rotation, the better it looks. How well it plays, I'm not sure. I've only seen it in DM mode. So I've got something that looks like a circle here. You can fill in some of these spaces. a little tighter in between. And then the nice thing is I can just go through and click these. Now that I've got them all selected, just Control C, Control V, I hope. Yeah, there we go. And now I can just bring those, and when it finds the top of these, it's going to try to fit, but again, we were holding Control before, so we'll hold Control Shift, get that line back up. And we'll try to close this off. Down here we want to put in a door. Oh, that's a little bit too big. That might work. Maybe I want to hide it on the inside just a little bit. Kind of aesthetic there. Next we'll go for the roof. Can I get away with this? Will it let me do it? Is it the right size? Let's check. Alright, so let's take a look. It should be just above that tree. We're down here at the corner. It looks like we got about the right scale. Of course, there's new roof pieces in some of the master tier categories, but I think we've got things planned out as much as we can. we'll go through some vegetation and some of these vegetables. How close we stick to that map, I'm not sure, and I might wait to do that until we get the terrain in. So what I'm going to do next is everything that's in this first area around the farmstead, I'm going to select around here and make everything except the map one piece. So hopefully I can do that. It might not let me. That's okay. We'll find a way around that. Down, bring it back over here, and use that later as a reference. Right. So again, I want to get this area that extends from about here to here, down below, and up, and get that on kind of a high ground. You can just drag. I want to take those. Don't want it to take that tree. I guess I could. That might be okay. Group objects. Okay. And now everything that's highlighted blue is one object. Include that. Nope, let me try that again. Okay, so now everything should be included, and I will drive this up and put it up on top of the trees for now. Like so. Coming back to this map here. We know that the middle ground should be the highest, and it looks kind of like a square. And we'll go to our terrain, the highest piece. I might use this. And while holding Shift, I can keep everything on the same level. There'll be some overlapping. I just want to make it roughly as big as what the area I need should be. Then I can just click the piece and drag it up to the top. Put it there. It'll give me a little bit of an idea of how much further I need to build it out. That wall didn't get up there. There we go. Easy fix. So we know that this all needs to be at the same level or thereabouts. So we will continue building out along this idea. So now we've got a little elevation. I'm going to delete this part here. And I am going to sink this down just a little bit. So I'll have to ungroup. I can just click this one. And I will bring it down. Not so far. About here, hold shift, and now it'll be below ground. And there was a little door at the beginning. And just some walls around it. Something like that. Can I get a little roof piece for that? That's going to be too big. Do I have a 5-foot one? And now I can go back with the terrain piece before. Give it some space. Because, you know, players are players sometimes and they want to go exploring things. it's just kind of fun when you can. There we go. So now it's just a matter of putting down the floor. For this, you want to find the ground level. Hold shift to the edges, pull down. Might extend outside, but that might be okay. I could just probably cover that with a little bit of rubble. And we've got the first area done with all the props and stuff on top. We'll come to this next area here. Again, find the ground level. I suppose if I wanted to, just hold Control and Shift, slide it up into the place that I want it to. So it does look like some of the props that we put down got sunk below the floor. You can just grab them and just pull them up. Alright, so for the rest of it, let's look at the map. We have 1, 2 levels, and that's perfect. We can go back to the terrain. So this one, you can choose a slightly different level. is I will go and pick up these trees, or maybe not. I might have to. Should maybe done this step first. And then for the last step, I will put in our base layer as the glade. That'll fill in some other parts. Give it more of a 3D feel. Remember to hold shift when you're building or trying to build a flat plane. So maybe not exact, but we'll try to take a view of it from above, see if it's close enough to the map. Sorry, the camera speed is a little slow when zooming around in camera view. And let's just change the lighting one more time. Let's go to basic night. So as your characters come along from the north, they would come across this farmstead on the hill. And I'll try to figure out some roofing for these other places. But that went a little bit longer than I hoped, but I was able to put in the terrain, so I'm pretty happy about that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.